Hello everyone, this is Jason from Iron Mission. I don't know what I'm doing out here. It's 42 degrees, it's drizzling, but I got something to show you. We need to talk about this bike. Let's take a look. Yeah, so I just picked this up. It's awesome. It is a ZH2, a 2024. It's new, and I needed to have it. I needed something a little bit faster back in my list of motorcycle riding options. I had the 24 Limited, the Harley. I had the 24 Pan America, which is definitely a quick bike. I just did a review on that. I'll put it in the upper right-hand corner. But this thing is a whole different level. And we're going to take it for a ride. I'm going to share my thoughts. But right now, it is bone stock. I've got some things on order. The exhaust is going bye-bye because I need a little bit more noise. And this thing here, this tail tidy, is coming in because I can't stand this big giant thing hanging off the back of the bike. But this is a very, very fun bike. Got about 150 miles on it so far. Already have learned a lot, but if you want an opinion from an old school Harley rider, what it's like to ride a ZH2 compared to what I've been riding lately, and that is, like I said, the 24 Limited. The 2019 Fat Boy is gone. So I got rid of that, and I can only fit about 4 or 5 bikes in the garage right now, and so this is, with the Fat Boy being gone, this is still number 4. But there's a lot to love about this motorcycle so far. It's been a while since I've been on an inline 4, and it's been a while since I've had a bike that's capable of going as fast as this bike. In the 90s, I had an FCR 1000 that was pretty much geared for quarter mile and could run sub 10-second quarter miles back in the 90s, which was pretty impressive. This bike will do that pretty much right out of the box. Still breaking it in, so I'm not going too crazy with this thing. It does have the supercharger, 197 horsepower claimed at the crank, and then somewhere around 100 or so foot-pounds of torque. That's pretty serious. This is definitely not a bike for a beginner. Lots of really cool things to talk about when we go for the ride. I will show you the TFT screen because that's something that's a little bit easier to show now than it would be when we're riding. Only place I could get the quad mount on was right here. It was really frustrating, but that's pretty much your display. It's got a lot of cool information. Miles, you can do your average miles per gallon in real time, odometer, clock, temperature of the motorcycle, temperature outside. And like, that thing says 51, there's no way. It was saying 42 when I pulled up here. It's got 3 different modes. It's got rain, road, and it's got sport mode and a customizable mode as well. Your buttons are here, tactile. They feel really good. So I'm coming off of Harleys, and so that's kind of the perspective that you're going to get. And Harley does have some really high quality stuff going on. I know people like to joke about it, but they do. And this Kawasaki is also got some really high quality stuff in terms of the buttons and the feel and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, we'll take a ride here in a couple of minutes. I want to share my initial thoughts. If you're looking for this bike, I would say it is definitely one worth considering. A lot of people worry a little bit about the power, and I would say the power is coming from your right wrist, not necessarily the bike itself all the time. Let's go take a ride. So yeah, let's take this thing for a ride. Why in the world did an old school Harley guy get a ZH2? I wanted more performance. I wanted better handling. I've got a 24 Limited. I've got the 24 Pan America, and I enjoy both those bikes, and I have no intention of getting rid of either of those bikes right now. I just wanted something that was going to be a little bit more fun, a little bit lighter, believe it or not, even though this is considered a relatively heavy bike for a sport or a hypersport naked bike, but I absolutely love it. Now, if you're considering this bike, the ZH2, there are other models that you may want to consider as well. The Ducati V4S is a really good option, Triumph Speed Triple 1200, Yamaha MT10, and I looked at all of those motorcycles in addition to this one, but ultimately I preferred the look of this certainly over the Yamaha and over the Triumph. If you like those bikes, that's totally cool. I did really like the Ducati V4S, but the price was starting to get pretty steep on that motorcycle. Keep in mind, for 2026, these are MSRPing for around 22. This is a new 24, and I was able to get it for 18,000. So I really couldn't pass that up, and that was considerably less than the Ducati the V4S was going for. So let's talk a little bit about this performance, right? We know that it's a, maybe we don't, but it's almost 1,000 cc's, 998 cc. So it's a liter bike that has got a crankcase, basically claimed horsepower of 197 with about 100 foot-pounds of torque. And I will say, with the 3 ride modes, this is a very manageable bike for those who have significant riding experience. This is not a bike for someone to jump on after they've been riding for a year. It's not a bike if you know you can't control your right wrist, because this can do some bad things to you if you are not on your game. So there are 3 riding modes: rain, road, and sport, and the bike handles considerably different in each one of those modes. I think the road mode right now is perfectly fine, but that sport mode, it absolutely gets this bike moving in a different way. Handling has been really, really good. It's quite surprising. Again, I'm coming from the touring / ADV world. If you're coming from the sport bike world, then the handling, the way you feel about this bike is probably going to be a little bit different. But I can tell you, with these Brembo brakes, the braking is extremely good. It has electronically adjustable suspension that you can work through your phone. It's got Showa forks and suspension, so really high quality stuff. It's got a quick shifter, traction control, launch control, which with a bike like this, if you turn that off, you need to be really, really careful about what you're doing and really know what you're doing, because you could wind up doing somersaults down the street in a hurry with this thing. It's got cornering management, the controllability, I absolutely love this bike. Again, I'm coming from bigger, heavier motorcycles. If you're coming from a sport bike, then yeah, this is not going to corner. It's not going to handle the same way as an R1 or a Panigale V2 or V4, of course. It's a little bit of a heavier bike. It's a little over 500 pounds, with all the fluids, so around 532 pounds. So keep that in mind. It sits a little bit taller, but that's part of the allure of this bike, is you're getting all this performance. Seat height of 32.7 inches. And the riding triangle is outstanding. I'm not finding I'm having to put a lot of pressure on my wrist. The knee bend is not something that's horrible. I had at one point considered maybe going back to Yamaha and getting an R1 or a Panigale V2 or V4. And I sat on those bikes and I was miserable just sitting on those bikes on the showroom floor. I couldn't imagine wanting to ride that thing for more than 45 minutes. And as most of you understand, if you've been watching the channel for a while, we like to go for long rides, and I can't wait to report back when we do a solid 300-mile day, which we are accustomed to doing. And yes, I will do that on this bike and let you know how it is. The one issue that I already see is, and I've heard this before, I wasn't surprised by it, but the fuel economy is probably about as bad as I've seen on a motorcycle. It's got a 5-gallon tank. And right now, with me just riding, not like a maniac, right? Just riding a normal ride, I'm averaging around 37 miles per gallon. And that is not really getting on this thing. It's not racing it, none of that stuff. It's still relatively cold outside. Like I said, it's 42 degrees as I'm riding, and I'm still only getting 37 miles per gallon. So I expect the miles per gallon to go down from there. And with a 5-gallon tank, well, there's not a whole lot of, you're going to be spending some time at the gas station for sure. So just keep that in mind. But it is a very, very comfortable ride. I actually, dare I say, am finding this bike more comfortable than my Pan America. So we're going to have to see, because if that is indeed the case, if that holds up on a 200-mile day, and the first day I got this bike, I rode it like 150 miles. So if that holds up for a 250-mile day, all of a sudden the Pan America for me, because I don't really do a lot of off-roading, I don't know if I need to keep both of these. But obviously that's going to happen. We're going to have to wait and see what that's like. If you are looking for a bike out of the box that sounds amazing, this is not it. But most bikes don't, right? Most bikes don't sound great with the stock exhaust. And this big, bulky, ugly exhaust there's nothing to it. You're not going to really hear much. And so if you're someone who likes to hear your bike, you're going to have to do some modifications and possibly look at changing that out. But the electronics are outstanding. I absolutely love how easy they are to use. I showed you the TFT screen a little bit earlier. Super easy to read. The layout is outstanding. They've actually got a couple different options there. I didn't show it because maybe I'll do a separate video going over all that stuff. But it is a really intuitive TFT, a really intuitive electronic screen to be able to read and to be able to work through. The ABS it works fine. I did actually engage it once. I love the fact that this bike has cruise control. I'm at an age where I will not buy a motorcycle unless it's a track bike. I am not buying a motorcycle without cruise control. And for those of you who have had it and have gotten used to it, you know as well as I do that you're probably going to want to keep that. And so that was a big thing when I was considering maybe the Ducati, especially the V2. It made no sense. it didn't have cruise control standard. It didn't even have a gas gauge standard. So I was like, wow, you're paying a lot of money and you're not getting some of those things that I find to be kind of important. LED lights all around. You can connect your smartphone. Like I said, you can control some of the features of the motorcycle through your phone, which is really cool. Like I said, the cost is around $22,000 for 2026. I got a significantly better deal because it had been sitting on the showroom floor for a little while. But future changes, I've already got an exhaust on order. So just the slip-on, I'm going to get used to this bike before I start potentially messing around with headers and high-flow air cleaners and doing a tune. Because with those things, for not a lot of money, you can wind up with a bike that has safely around 220 to 230 rear wheel horsepower and going way up on the torque around 110, 115. With that, I'm kind of thinking maybe I would throw an extended swing arm on there if I want to do that. So we'll see, because I do like the way this bike handles. And once you start doing those other things and you start getting the horsepower at those much higher RPMs and you start messing with a bike that can go considerably faster, those other things, like the swing arm and that kind of stuff, it does potentially make the bike a little bit more difficult to handle. The other thing is, I showed you that rear end of the motorcycle at the beginning of the video. I've got that tail tidy already coming in. I can't wait to get that on there. It's just one of those things with most of the naked bikes out there, they put that horrible license plate holder on there. It sticks way out, just completely ruins the look of the motorcycle itself. Again, if you're considering this bike, I think it looks a lot better in person than even when you're seeing it on video and that kind of thing. When I compared it, at least just looks-wise, to the other naked bikes that are out there, I do find this one, and again, this is a totally subjective thing. I'm sure there are going to be people in the comments like, you're crazy. I do find this to be one of the better-looking ones. Is it as good as the Ducati Street Fighter, which is what I was looking at, the V2 and the V4? No. The Ducati is a better-looking bike. It's probably the best-looking hyper naked or naked sport bike out there today, but I definitely like this one. I prefer it over the Triumph Speed Triple and certainly the Yamaha MT-10 in terms of its look. Obviously, you've got the performance aspect you have to consider as well. But if you're looking at this, just keep in mind once again that this is a bike that it does a good job of blending. Okay, it's got the performance somewhat like a sport bike does, but it's not going to beat you up the way a sport bike does. Like I said, my wrists aren't hurting, my back's not hurting, my knees aren't hurting when I'm riding this thing. It's an enjoyable ride. So if you're looking at knocking out 100 miles, which I've already done, it's no big deal. It didn't feel any different. I didn't feel any different than if I was riding my 2024 Harley Limited or the 24 Pan America. So you can get that performance in a bike that's a lot more comfortable and still have something where, let's face it, this is a bike where, in terms of its ability to really excite people, excite the rider and go quick, you can't find a whole lot more than this and still maintain some level of comfort. You could make a really strong argument that the power that this bike has is not all that useful on the street just because it is so over the top. And I get that with the supercharger and close to 200 horsepower. Rear wheel horsepower is probably somewhere in the mid 170s, depending on the temperature and the humidity and all that, and air pressure and all that stuff. But that's still a lot of motorcycle for the street. The other thing I'll say about this bike, at slower speeds, it is a very, very easy bike to ride. It's not... A lot of people think, oh my gosh, it's a fast bike, it's got all this horsepower, it must just take off every time you leave a light. Again, that is all about what you do with your right wrist and how much you take off from a light. But in terms of handling this bike at slow speeds, it is extremely easy to handle. It's a very, very smooth bike. The power delivery is very, very predictable, which makes it a nice, easy ride. Handling, like I said before at the beginning, is easy, especially the slow speed handling. Coming off of a touring bike and the Pan America, which are considerably heavier and bigger, the slow speed turns are really nice. And like I said, the ability to just take off nice and smooth and around town low speeds, this bike handles like a dream as well. Please, if you're a newer rider and not used to riding bikes that have a lot of performance. This is not something that you jump on after you've just gotten your motorcycle license or you've only been riding for a year and you're still trying to kind of figure things out. There are better bikes for that. Maybe you're considering the Yamaha MT-09 or even the MT-07 if you're on the newer side to sport bikes and you're coming off of that 400 or that 500cc motorcycle. But so yeah, I'll definitely have more information for you as I did with the Pan America after I've ridden it a lot longer, as I'll show you the upgrades as that happens. As always, thanks for hanging out with me. If you're riding, ride safe, and we'll see you next week.